Welcome back. Last week, we brought you a great conversation with historian Ibram X. Kendi. He's the founder of Boston University's Center for Anti-Racist Research and the New York Times best-selling author of the book. It's called How to Be an Anti-Racist. His latest book offers lessons for both kids and parents on the topic. And in part two of our conversation, we talked a lot about where we go from here. Here's more of what he had to say.
You say it's never too early to talk to your kids about race and racism.
The way parents can think about teaching their kids to be anti-racist, because they value raising their kids to be anti-racist, is the same way we value raising our kids to be kind or raising our kids to be loving. Our children between about 3 to 6 months start recognizing race. Our children at 2 years old begin internalizing racist ideas. Meanwhile, many parents believe that a 2-year-old or a 6-month-old is colorblind. So they're not even beginning this conversation.
So is it not good enough then to say, you know what, I treat everybody fairly. I teach my kids to be nice to each other. I have a fairly mixed amount of friends. So I think I'm fine. Is that not good enough?
It's not good enough. We need every single American to be a part of this struggle to eliminate racism, because, we need a collective force to uproot something that is so historic and so deep.
A lot of people, and even for me, to say the word racist, it feels a little uncomfortable. For some reason, that word holds more power than I could have ever imagined, doesn't it?
In many ways, racist has been almost made into the new N-word. It's been perceived or projected as like an attack term. When you identify someone as being racist, you are trying to hurt them. But that's not how we should understand the term racist. It is a descriptive term, and that's all it ever does is describe people, ideas, institutions, and certainly policies. And by contrast, they're anti-racist sort of forms of those entities.
You talked about the fact that you've had your own racist thoughts.
Without question, to grow up in America is to be raised in many ways to believe that there's something wrong with Black people as a group. And you know who's told those ideas possibly more than anyone? Black people. We need everyone seeing racism as the problem as opposed to Black people.
I was reading a post from Missy Elliott. She tweeted, "I feel like I've learned more about history in the year 2020 than ever. So many stories I am seeing on here, they never taught me in my history class." This time really makes me realize that we have to do better with what we're teaching.
Most Americans recognize that racism is our original sin. It's one of the prevailing dominant factors that have shaped American history. If you are educated in this country, we should all be educated in the history and cultures of all of the different groups, and we should certainly have an understanding of racism.
And so then if you're sitting somewhere and you are mad that a statue is coming down because you feel like we are trying to get rid of history, what would you say?
This isn't about Southern tradition. This isn't about Southern history. This is about a traitorous sort of nation that emerged because it wanted to perpetuate slavery forever.
Is there a place for it? Should it go in a museum?
It's critically important for us to distinguish between something, a statue that should be memorialized in a city square so all the world can see. That's honoring, versus something that's in a museum that we seek to place there so we could remember. So we never, essentially return to that place.
Are you optimistic that we'll see real change, especially when it comes to policy, since I know that's what you really believe is important?
I'm hoping that people are recognizing the importance of policy change. And that's where, people are fighting, not just for cultural changes, not just for changing themselves, but changing our communities. And the way we change communities is by changing the policies that govern them.
Again, Kendi's mission is to seek policy change that affects communities across the world. I've never seen a children's book with the word policy in it, but he put it in there, guys. He feels like, kids can handle it. And if kids have questions, it's a toolkit, if you will, to talk to your kids about different issues.
It's not enough to not be racist. That's not enough. Anti-racist.
Anti-racist.
Yeah, it was anti-racist. I have to be honest with you. I hadn't even heard that term until recently when we started having these discussions. I didn't even know it was a thing. So we're all learning a lot about this. In fact, for more information on Antiracist Baby, we put it on our website. You can go to thirdhourtoday.com.